Hello world, it's your girl Bambi back at it again, right? And yes, I know. I'm not dolled up today. You know, you getting hoodie, you getting in-home vibes, you know what I'm saying? No makeup, no nothing because like every day I don't look like, what is it? Yes. Some days I look like no. Not to say that today I look like no because the hair is did. So I still don't look like a quite no. I look like a maybe today. You know what I'm saying? Like a maybe. But I put some lip gloss on because I did not want to like have some ashy ass lips. So I said, I could at least like put some shinies on, right? Anywho, so today's video is going to be about green flags. I did a video about red flags, and so this video is going to be about green flags because we don't always have to be negative. There are positives to stuff, you know what I'm saying? This is the positive side to like dating. And so like I did my research because I like to do my research sometimes, not all the time because I'm not perfect, right? But I did my research, and in my research a lot of the stuff was like similar, and then I was like, well, let me just think of like some green flags that I think are green flags. They might not be, but to me they are, so it makes it real, right? So anywho, so some green flags that was kind of like all over the internet. A lot of them were similar, like I said. So a good listener, somebody who listens, not just listens to respond, but listens with the intent of understanding what you're saying and paying attention. Because like, don't you just love when you're speaking to someone, like say like on the phone, and I don't know, let's take something simple like your birthday. Like say you remember their birthday, and then like you go on a date with them and they be like, yeah, didn't you say your birthday was such and such? Or like, didn't you say your sign was such as, like, it makes the other person be like, oh, so you was paying attention. Or like your favorite color or something like that, right? So like that is a green flag because they paid attention to a detail that, might just seem kind of like frivolous or like kind of like meaningless to other people, but to you, clearly it means something. So they ask questions about you, and clearly not too invasive questions, but questions that let you know that they're interested in you. Let's see. Oh, like this, right? This is kind of like a two for one too. Like say they ask you this was actually on my green flag, right? So like say they ask you, like, they're like a full-time parent, or they have a really busy job. Like they ask you, so when is the best time to contact you, or how do you like to be contacted? Do you like to text? Do you like to talk? Like that says a lot about a person. That means that they're being mindful, and especially if they follow up with the action, because words don't mean shit if you don't follow up with action, right? But they actually follow up with that, or maybe they even shoot you a little text and be like, hey, I'm not sure, if you're a little busy right now, but when you get a chance, I'd like to hear your voice. Like, you interested, and like you acknowledging that, I might not have the time for you, but if I do, reach out. Like that is definitely a green flag. Oh, this is a biggie. This is a biggie. They put their phone away. I cannot stand, and I get it, this is the era of like always being on your phone and checking your phone or whatever the hell, but I'm a little old school. I'm a lot of old school, right? I really, 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 really have a problem if I see you on your phone. Like if you're checking your social media, like what is we checking our social media for? Like you trying to tell me you can't devote an hour to me without checking your social media? Like it's one thing if it's like your kid, right? That's texting you or something, or calling you or something. Maybe even your parent, I'll take it, parent, right? Your cousins, your friends, the fact that you needing or feeling the need to reply to them while you're with me. Are you really interested, or are you just passing time? You know what I'm saying? Like, was this just something to do because you were bored? Anywho, they don't just treat you with respect, but they treat other people around you with respect. So say you're on a date, they're treating the waitress or the waiter with respect. And wait, and pause. Let me just pause on that one, right? Because people are fucking shitty. And I know we've all came across that one fucking waiter or waitress that's just like, What the fuck is her problem? But that should be a mutual thing. Like, y'all both should be giving each other the look where I really wanted to say something to this chick, but I didn't want you to think anything because she's mad fucking rude. And that should be like at the end of the date. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all should be like, I mean, what did you think of that service? Like, do you think, like, you know, and then the other person should be like, I don't know, I think, like, she could have been a little bit nicer. And, you know, that's when you could go to fucking, at least that's just me. Maybe that's a red flag on me. But I don't know. I'm just saying. Because not everybody's nice. So, like, and I'm not saying be rude because they're being rude. But if you both are feeling like, at the end of the day, like, you know, that lady that was serving us, she seemed like she really wasn't paying too much attention to us. And then the other person concurs that. I like that. But if the person or the waiter, waitress, bartender, whatever, isn't giving you a reason to be an asshole, you don't need to be an asshole. Or even just like, say you're walking and you see somebody who's panhandling and they're like talking shit like, oh, well, look at this bum ass person. Like, you could have kept your thoughts to yourself. You didn't have to say that. So that's, be mindful of that. Respecting your boundaries. Okay, I've had people actually do this to me before. They think because I am always with my kids that I just have all the time in the world for them. No. Because I'm always with my kids, I get tired too. And I need time to self, like me, myself, and I. Like, I love to give myself time. That means without you. Just because you think I have all the time in the world, that's not necessarily true. So I need people to respect my boundaries. So you need people to respect your boundaries, you know? And that should look like something to them just as much as it seems like something to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care how minute it is. I don't care if you don't have a job at the moment. So what? They still need to respect your boundaries. You know what I'm saying? But not just that, because clearly not just with time. Like, you know, there's other things like being respectful of people's space physically, or maybe like they're not ready to have a certain conversation. Like, you know, there's levels and shit to boundaries. Being patient and understanding. Ooh, we're gonna throw communication in there. Like, okay, for instance, y'all see my red flags one where I'm like, damn, like, you know, this dude was late and he didn't even acknowledge anything. So like, I had to be patient, right? And I feel like I would have been a lot more understanding had he acknowledged communication, right? Like, hey, I'm just running a little late. You don't have to give me a reason, right? You could just say, hey, I'm running a little late. That lets me know you're not just sitting here like being like, whatever, her time doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? So being patient with the person. So say I was 5 or 10 minutes late, whatever. Be patient. I was patient with him, even though I said I was ready to get rid of him after like 12 minutes, but still, right? I digress. I still was patient, right? So like, you know, being patient, being understanding, and communicating. Because I think if you're patient with someone, you can communicate, not just communicate, like communicating being mindful, and communicating being compassionate towards the other person, like just mindfulness. I think that's a lot that we lack nowadays. It's like mindfulness. Like, the world doesn't revolve around you. Like, especially when you're going out with somebody, it's you and that other person. Like, so, and it starts from date one, right? Being comfortable and vulnerable, right? So like, listen, if it feels like pressure, it shouldn't feel like pressure. It should feel like it should be flowing. You know, like, you shouldn't be talking about too hardcore stuff, but not too surface level. Like, right in the medium somewhere. Like, what are your likes and dislikes? What are your pet peeves? How are you when you get upset? You know what I'm saying? Do you need space when you get like stuff like that? You know, not like so. I mean, I guess you could ask about marriage, but I still feel like that's too early to be asking about marriage. Like, chill with that. Like, you don't even know if you still like this person. You still got to figure out if you like this person, right? Transparency, being honest. Like, sometimes people just need someone to hold space. Sometimes people want a booty call. Sometimes people want to get to know people a little bit deeper. And sometimes they really don't know. So maybe being transparent and being honest with the person and letting them know, like, hey, this is exactly where I'm at. And then asking them, where are you at? Like, do you know what you want, or do you not know? Are you in between? You know what I'm saying? So that kind of lets the other person know where to kind of gear, or where this relationship might go, right? So then I'm gonna talk about my green flags, right? Nervousness. And like, listen, I say this, right? Even though I'm typically not a nervous person. I'm not. Like, I'm just not. I'm just not, right? But I love to see a guy a little bit nervous. Like, to me, it's like, if you nervous, then it's because you kind of like, you don't know how I'm gonna really like take it, and so you're like, but I'm gonna be a little bit nervous, but I'm probably not gonna be as nervous as most people are. I'm just not that type of person. I prepared myself before I came outside, so I'm not gonna be that nervous. You know, if I felt like I was gonna be that nervous, I would probably say like, oh my god, like, I'm nervous right now, right? Transparency, honesty, right? So that person doesn't think like, oh, she's being weird. I always have issues with this word, but I'm gonna try to say it right because we're not perfect. Chivalry is not dead. What happened to like bring a little rose? You know what I'm saying? One rose, like, especially if you've been talking for a little bit and it's your first day, like, bring a rose. Opening the door for somebody. And this is not just a one way, it's a two-way street, because if a man opens the door for me, oh, you know, I'm doing the lean over and opening his door. If you know Bronx Tale, then you know Bronx Tale. You know what I'm saying? But yes, I'm definitely going to lean over and open your door for you, because why not? Why can't I, you know? Okay. If they're speaking on past relationships, right? Because we like to act like we don't talk about this shit, but we talk about it. If you're speaking on past relationships, right? Especially like, say like I brought it up. Say I'm like, hey, so what happened to your last relationship? Or their relationship with their kid's mother. Because to me, that is very important. If someone has a child, what is your relationship like with your kid's mother? They're probably thinking I want them to be negative. That is actually the total opposite. I actually want you to be cool with your baby's mom, but I want to see where it is that you lie. So like, the more baby mamas you have, the more explanation you have to do, right? So like, say someone has even 2 baby mamas, that's a lot. That's a lot still. But even still, hey, it is what it is, right? So actually, like, 3 is a lot. 2 is kind of like understandable. But anywho, right? So if I'm asking you about your baby mama, and you're like, oh, well, baby mama one's crazy, and she's tripping, and she was cheating on me, and da-da-da-da, right? And then, like, okay, well, what happened with baby mama number 2? And, oh, well, baby mama number 3, like, yeah, well, she slept with my boy, and she's crazy, too, and she's just a stalker, and this and this and that. And I'm like, well, you know what I'm thinking? Like, stalker, red flag, like, and then I'm just sitting there waiting, like, you're not going to sit here and just put this all on the chicks. And I'm not saying that, you know, there aren't men or women out there that just haven't had the shitty end of the stick, right? But you got to take some type of responsibility and accountability. So even if you said something like, you know, I wasn't a perfect guy while I was with her, but ultimately what ended up, like, ending the relationship was that, you know, she got caught cheating, and, like, you know what I'm saying? So that to me is like, okay, you're taking some type of accountability. You cannot sit there and say, oh, it was just all her fault and just nothing was your fault. Like, all of your relationships, nothing was your fault. Like, you was always the one who broke up with the person or got left, or, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a red flag for me. But someone who takes accountability, who says, you know, I wasn't perfect and I did my thing and whatever, or even admits that they cheated, right? Because people aren't perfect and people do change. Like, that's a green flag for me. At least you told me. At least I know what I'm getting myself into, right? If I decide to go there. Body language. Like, if we are sitting down, right, and your legs are turned towards me, or my legs are turned towards you, I'm interested in you. If your leg is this way and my body is over here, you're not as interested as you think you are. And I know you're probably like, you're tripping, but try it. Try it. Some type of touch. It doesn't have to be a lot, because I know this is a little tricky and some people have like PTSD and stuff like that. So this was a little tricky, but someone who's interested in you is going to touch you. And I don't mean in an appropriate way. I mean like a little, like, you know, touching your hand. You know, they might be like, oh, your hands are pretty, or like, oh, you have tattoos in your hands, let me see. Like, or maybe they might touch your hair, or, you know, like, if they're holding the door for you, they might like touch your lower back to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain little things that they're gonna do. I find myself not even noticing, like, if I like somebody, like, and I didn't even recognize that I kind of like them, I low-key touch them. I'd be like, oh shit, like, I didn't even notice that I touched them. But it happens. It happens. This is like you got to pay attention to like, you know, certain gestures. Do they ask for a second date? That's another one. And where is that second date? Are they asking you to come back to their house? Or are they asking you for a date? And when they're asking you for a date, do they have a place and a time? Like, I cannot stand. This is, you ask me out on a date. And you're like, okay, we're going on this date. They have a time for you. They pick you up. And then you get in the whip and they're like, so where you want to go? What? But you said you had this all figured out. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what time they're going. Like, if you have interests on certain hobbies or certain things that you like, right? And they kind of try to downplay it. No. That's a red flag. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to bring up red flags, but that just kind of happened to me on one of my last dates. I was like, whoa, like, don't try to downplay my interest, you know what I'm saying? But someone who asks you about hobbies that you have and is kind of like low-key interested, even though like that's not really their thing. Like, I don't play video games, but I don't mind guys that play video games. I'm not into sports, but I don't mind guys that are into sports. Like, if they're like, oh, well, I know you're not into sports, but would you come to a game with me? Yes, of course. Like, probably whoever the hell you're cheering on, I'm going to end up cheering on too, because like, if you're my man, I'm supporting you, right? Like, this is eventually if we actually got together. But whatever your interests are, I actually want to know, because like, if you're someone that I'm interested in, then I will be interested in whatever the hell you're interested in. You know, if I really mess with you, you know what I'm saying? This video is a little bit longer than usual, but I'm going to end it off with, especially like in the beginning, like no expectations, right? Just go with the flow. I'm very firm believer in go with the flow. But if you say something, you should be about that, right? Like, if you have a date and you don't come through with the date, you should let the other person know, I'm not going to come through. You know what I'm saying? If you were supposed to call somebody and you didn't call them, then you can at least acknowledge, like, hey, I know I was supposed to call you, but I did it. My bad. You don't have to get into details, right? But at least be mindful that it's not just your time that you value, but you also value the other person's time. So just have no expectations. Go with the flow. It is what it is. When someone is interested in you, you will know. You will know that they're interested in you. So much so that if you went on a date with someone who's not interested in you, you'll know. You'll be like, you know, this guy was a piece of shit, but like, I know he was interested because the way he did X, Y, and Z. Like, this other shit was a little narcissistic, but I could tell he was interested. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you have to just understand to trust your intuition. Don't expect too much. Go with the flow. And there are some green flags. There are some red flags. Sometimes you got to learn how to pick your battles and which ones are like, and which ones are like hell to the no. And which ones are like, yes, like this might be the one. Like, I hope everything works out because, like, I really want to get to know this person. So with that being said, this is the end of the video. Thank you to everybody who's been subscribing, because I've gotten like hella subscribers since my last video. And like, to maybe to someone else, they'd be like, that's not a lot. But to me, even a subscriber, even people, you don't even got to subscribe. Even just looking at my video, liking my video. I don't care if you got some negative shit to say. You seen it. You sat here and disagreed with me. I fucks with you. So with that being said, till further notice, bye.